My name is Lillah Hammad, and this is my digital story. I've been volunteering for Altura Honey for 316 days since June 4th of 2022. I work for and with my mentor John Thompson at Altura Honey. Now, John teaches math at my school, Amy Beale. Now, I don't technically know what John's official title is at Altura Honey, or even that he has one, but I would say that he and Luke are the head honchos, and these guys have been working real hard because pretty recently, Altura Honey was able to become a nonprofit. Now, Altura Honey is made up of many people, including John, Luke, and my fellow volunteers, and the folks who let us set up apiaries in their backyard. Naturally, the organization is well-rounded and does quite a few things. The most important is honeybee swarm removals. It's how we give back. Every spring, honeybee colonies need to reproduce, which is why they swarm. People call us, and we go remove them for free. We are able to do this because we not only sell honey products, but we also remove established colonies from homes and businesses. This profit helps make it possible for saving bees to remain an accessible option. At Amy Beale, we are civic-minded and do a lot of community service throughout our 4 years. To graduate, we need to commit 100 hours of our time to volunteer at pretty much any place we want. The first organization I was interested in was Tree, New Mexico. It didn't work out, but the connections I made would turn out to be priceless, or anywhere between $75 and $150, which is how much a bee suit usually costs. Kelly White, who works with Tree, New Mexico, ended up giving me the bee suit I use to this day. This taught me a valuable lesson about networking. When I started in the summer, the work felt slow and nerve-wracking. I'd never been stung, and I knew very little about how bees actually worked, so there was a constant onslaught of new information that was hard to keep track of. I did a lot of holding onto the smoker so I could focus on learning the ins and outs of what we call hive checks. The name is fitting. We go to apiaries and check on the hives. Make sure they have everything they need to flourish, and if they don't, we try to remedy that situation somehow. Whether it's providing them with a healthy queen, managing pest infestations, or just making sure they have room to grow, we try to make sure each and every hive is as healthy as it can be. Through this work, I learned that I'm never going to feel prepared doing something new. Even nearly a year later, I'm still unsure when I'm cracking open the hive. I just try to remember that I know a lot about what I'm doing, and I also know how to ask for help from everyone I work with, so it's okay to be confused or unsure of what to do next. Autumn was a relief, both literally from the heat, and I finally felt like I was getting the hang of things. I got stung on my very first cutout and found out I'm not allergic to bees. As it got colder, we began to prepare the hives for winter, making sure they were properly insulated and that they had enough resources to survive. During the winter, bees rest. I didn't know that before I began my work. And I think many people have this idea that bees eat, sleep, and breathe honey and that they are constantly producing. But they aren't. Honeybees, like most living things on Earth, need rest, and during the winter they huddle together and put their energy into staying warm and eating honey until spring comes along. Our work also turned into preparing for the spring. The boxes and frames that bees call home do not just appear from nowhere. We have to construct them. Also, with winter came a time to reflect on our work. After meeting with John, all of the Amy Beale interns talked about our goals and what we wanted to complete by the end of our time with Altura. I decided that an informational pamphlet would be perfect to work on through the winter while I didn't have anything else to do. But it was harder than I thought it would be. I ended up only working on it a few hours during the winter, and by the time spring rolled around, I was already in desperate need of completing my 100 hours and was also really busy completing more work constructing boxes and frames. Spring break meant that I had to focus and finish the pamphlet so that it could be ready for swarm season. But I'd never done anything like that and felt completely unconfident in my abilities and unprepared. However, my second semester, I had enrolled in a poetry class and I enjoyed it so much, but the most important thing I learned from both C&M classes I took is how to be okay with putting my work into the world and accepting the vulnerability that comes with that. During spring break, I focused on just completing the first draft of the pamphlet. I showed it to John and I was so relieved when he said that nothing needed to be changed. Working on it definitely tested everything from my Photoshop to my writing skills to my knowledge of everything bee related. Even if it's a small change, I'm really glad to be able to leave something behind as proof of my work there.